Monday. Not next month. Not someday in the distant future. Monday. That is the word that keeps appearing over and over again in this story. And before you decide that this is just another random message, there is something you need to understand. This isn't a story about luck. It isn't a story about fantasy. It's a story about timing. Because somewhere right now, a chain of events has already started moving. A conversation. A missed call. A delayed trip. A sudden invitation. A change of plans. Tiny details that seem completely meaningless today. Yet all of them are quietly leading toward one moment. One meeting. One location. And if what you're about to hear resonates with you, then don't leave halfway through. Because the location isn't revealed at the beginning. The location is hidden inside the clues. And the final clue changes everything. A few years ago, an elderly man was asked a strange question. If soulmates are real, how do they find each other? The old man smiled. Then he pointed toward a train station. People rushed past each other. Some arrived. Some departed. Some never even looked up. Then he said something unforgettable. Soulmates don't find each other because they are searching. They find each other because life keeps moving them toward the same place. Think about that. Every person you've ever met was once a stranger. Every important chapter of your life started with a moment that looked ordinary. And that's exactly why so many people miss the signs. Because they expect something dramatic. A lightning bolt. A magical feeling. A giant announcement from the universe. Instead, the biggest moments often arrive disguised as normal days. Just another Monday. Just another place. Just another decision. Until later. When you realize that nothing about it was ordinary at all. Now here's where things become strange. There are 3 signs that often appear before a soulmate encounter. The first sign is repetition. You start seeing the same themes again and again. The same type of person. The same location. The same dream. The same song. The same message. It feels almost impossible to ignore. The second sign is unexpected closure. Something old suddenly leaves your life. A burden. A disappointment. A connection that no longer belongs in your future. The universe creates space before something important arrives. And the third sign? A feeling that change is close. You can't explain it. Nothing major has happened yet. But deep inside, you feel as if you're standing near a doorway. As if life is preparing to turn a page. If you've experienced even one of those signs recently, keep listening. Because the location clue is coming. But first, you need to understand why Monday matters. Most people believe important things happen on special days. Birthdays. Holidays. Anniversaries. But Monday is different. Monday is ordinary. Which makes it powerful. Nobody expects their entire future to change on a day associated with routines. Work. School. Errands. Appointments. Yet history is filled with moments that began on completely ordinary mornings. The reason is simple. When your guard is down, life can surprise you. And sometimes the people who change your story forever arrive when you're focused on something else entirely. Imagine this. You wake up Monday expecting nothing unusual. You follow your routine. You go where you always go. Then something small happens. A delay. A wrong turn. A conversation. A glance. A coincidence that feels too perfect to be random. At first, it seems insignificant. But later, when you connect the dots, you realize it was the beginning of everything. Now let's talk about the location. No. Not the exact street. Not the exact building. Because that's not how these clues work. The location is revealed through patterns. Listen carefully. Soulmate meetings often happen in places connected to movement. Not places of isolation. Movement. A station. A road. A cafe people constantly enter and leave. A workplace. A market. A library. A shopping area. A public gathering place. Why? Because soulmates rarely appear when life stands still. They appear while life is moving. And here's the shocking part. Many people visit the location multiple times before the meeting actually happens. The place is familiar. Not unfamiliar. The person is new. The location isn't. Think about that. You may have already walked through the place. You may have already stood there. You may have already passed the exact spot without realizing its importance. And that brings us to another clue. The location often contains water nearby. Not always. But surprisingly often. A fountain. A river. A lake. Rain. A water feature. Something symbolic of flow and change. Remember that. Because the final clue connects to it. Now imagine this scene. Monday arrives. You leave home. You think you're heading toward an ordinary destination. Meanwhile, another person is doing exactly the same thing. They have their own worries. Their own plans. Their own dreams. They have no idea you're part of their story. Just as you have no idea they're part of yours. Yet both paths are slowly moving closer. Minute by minute. Decision by decision. Until eventually, the distance disappears. And here's something fascinating. Many soulmate encounters begin with imperfection. Not perfection. The timing feels awkward. The conversation feels unexpected. The circumstances feel unusual. Because real connections don't arrive wrapped in movie scenes. They arrive wrapped in reality. That's why so many people nearly miss them. Now pay attention. This next clue is the most important one so far. The location is connected to something you almost didn't do. Read that again in your mind. Something you almost didn't do. Maybe you almost canceled. Maybe you almost stayed home. Maybe you almost said no. Maybe you almost took a different route. But somehow, for reasons you can't explain, you went anyway. And that single decision changed everything. The reason this clue matters is because opportunities often arrive disguised as inconveniences. The delay becomes the blessing. The detour becomes the path. The interruption becomes the answer. And if Monday brings an unexpected change of plans, don't dismiss it too quickly. Because sometimes the road you didn't intend to travel becomes the road you were meant to find. Now let's go deeper. There is one final location clue. And it's the strongest one. The place carries emotional significance. Not because of its appearance, but because of what it represents. Growth. Learning. Connection. Progress. The location isn't random. It's linked to the next chapter of your life. That's why soulmate encounters often happen during periods of personal transformation. When you're becoming someone new. When you're moving forward. When you're stepping beyond old limitations. Because the right people rarely arrive during the chapters you're meant to leave behind. They arrive during the chapters you're meant to enter. So what does all this mean? It means Monday isn't really about a calendar date. It's about readiness. It's about recognizing opportunities. It's about staying awake to the possibility that life can change faster than you think. And here's the truth most people never hear. The greatest meetings of your life don't announce themselves in advance. They arrive quietly. They arrive naturally. They arrive looking ordinary. Until one day you look back and realize that an ordinary Monday became the day your story changed forever. So if Monday brings a new invitation, pay attention. If Monday brings a strange coincidence, pay attention. If Monday places you in a location you didn't expect, pay attention. Because sometimes destiny doesn't shout. Sometimes it whispers. And the people who hear the whisper are the people who discover the miracle hiding inside an ordinary day. Maybe the location is somewhere you've visited 100 times. Maybe it's somewhere connected to movement, change, and new beginnings. Maybe it's somewhere near water. Maybe it's somewhere you almost decided not to go. But wherever it is, remember this. The most powerful clue was never the location. It was the timing. Because when the right moment finally arrives, the place becomes unforgettable. The conversation becomes unforgettable. The connection becomes unforgettable. And years from now, when someone asks where it all began, you might smile. Take a deep breath. And remember the Monday when everything changed. But the story doesn't end with the meeting. In fact, that's where the real mystery begins. Because most people think soulmates are identified the moment they appear. They imagine instant certainty. Instant recognition. Instant answers. Yet the truth is far more surprising. The moment you meet your soulmate, you may not realize who they are. Not immediately. And that's why Monday's location is only half of the revelation. The other half is what happens after. Picture this. You arrive at the location. Maybe it's a cafe. Maybe it's a workplace. Maybe it's a place connected to travel, learning, or daily routines. Nothing seems extraordinary. People are moving around. Conversations are happening. Life continues as normal. Then someone enters your field of vision. At first, there is nothing dramatic. No fireworks. No magical music. Just a strange sense of familiarity. As if you've known this person before. Not in memory, but in feeling. And that feeling stays with you. Hours later, you still remember them. Days later, you still remember them. Something about the encounter refuses to leave your mind. That's when the second phase begins. The signs. The clues. The impossible coincidences. The same names appearing repeatedly. The same topics showing up unexpectedly. The same opportunities bringing your paths together again and again. And each coincidence feels too precise to be random. Almost as if life itself keeps creating reasons for another meeting. Another conversation. Another connection. Because some people are not meant to pass through your life once. They're meant to stay. Now listen carefully. There is a reason soulmate encounters often happen after periods of disappointment. After heartbreak. After loneliness. After confusion. It's because those experiences prepare you. They teach lessons. They build wisdom. They reveal what truly matters. Without those chapters, you might not recognize the person standing in front of you. But now you can. And that's why Monday matters so much. Not because it guarantees anything, but because it represents an opening. A doorway. A chance. The beginning of a chapter that could not have happened earlier. There is another clue many people overlook. When a soulmate enters your life, they often inspire growth before romance. Growth comes first. They challenge you to become better. Stronger. More honest. More courageous. They don't simply fit into your life. They transform it. And transformation is rarely comfortable. That's why some soulmate connections begin with uncertainty. Not because they're wrong, but because they're important. Important things have weight. They require attention, patience, understanding. Now imagine yourself months from now. Looking back at this Monday. Remembering the location. Remembering the conversation. Remembering the tiny details that seemed insignificant at the time. The weather. The sounds. The people around you. The exact moment your paths crossed. You'll realize something astonishing. The clues were there all along. Life had been arranging pieces behind the scenes. Events that once appeared unrelated suddenly fit together perfectly. The delay that frustrated you. The invitation you almost declined. The route you almost didn't take. Every piece mattered. Every piece led somewhere. And eventually, every piece led to them. But here is the greatest revelation of all. Your soulmate isn't simply someone you find. They are someone you grow with. Someone who sees possibilities in you that you cannot yet see yourself. Someone who encourages your future instead of trapping you in your past. Someone who helps you become the person you were always capable of becoming. That is why the location is powerful. Because it isn't just a place on a map. It's the starting point of a new chapter. The place where two separate stories begin to merge into one. So when Monday arrives, stay aware. Stay present. Look around. Notice the conversations. Notice the opportunities. Notice the unexpected changes. Because life has a remarkable habit of hiding extraordinary moments inside ordinary days. And sometimes the most important person you'll ever meet appears when you're focused on something completely different. Years from now, you may not remember every detail of that Monday. But you'll remember how everything felt before and after. Before, life seemed ordinary. After, nothing looked the same. Because one meeting changed the direction of the road ahead. One conversation opened a new chapter. One location became unforgettable. And that's the secret hidden inside this story. The real location was never just a building, a street, or a destination. The real location was the exact place where your future finally caught up with you. And when that moment arrives, you'll understand why every step before it happened exactly the way it did. Because some meetings aren't accidents. They're milestones. And sometimes, the most important milestone of all begins on a Monday.